Alrighty. So before I get into the video, uh, I know it may seem like I did a good job today because of my P&L, but today was an atrocious trading day in my opinion for me. My overall analysis was pretty good, but the way I executed was extremely poor. But so let's go into it. So going into the day, I was actually pretty bullish. I did not think this SMT here would hold, even though it's pretty big. And we did come into OTE this range and had a pretty big displacement move yesterday. So had a 4-hour fair value gap there. So I did not think this was going to hold because this is ES over here, like extremely close to the external draw. I thought we were probably going to take that and form some SMT like around here, but right when market opened, looking at the 15-minute, market opened, we had a 15-minute fair value gap here. We just came up, wicked it, and then dumped to this this internal low. So after that big move to the downside, I was pretty confident then that after we displaced like extremely heavily, I was pretty confident we'd probably go lower, but we did obviously take out some form of sell side, so I wanted to look for the internal model. So we had this 15-minute fair value gap, and this is where I ended up getting chopped up pretty bad. Now, if you watched the other video yesterday, one of the main things I keep telling myself is I gotta stay on the 5-minute chart until like structure starts to look valid for me to zoom in. And I think I did a pretty good job of that. I mean, in the beginning, so I had OTE this range marked out, the 15-minute huge 5-minute fair value gap here, and I waited for us to come up here. So looking at the 5-minute, I saw us reject, and I was like, no, it's not ready yet. We bounced off this 5-minute fair value gap here, and then once we took out this high and started to push lower, starting to disrespect this bullish 5-minute fair value gap, is when I zoomed in and I got a little carried away right off the bat. I saw this internal model, right? So we took this high, then we came up, we formed a high here, dropped lower, took out this high, and then had big displacement down. This is your market structure shift, right? So overlapping the models, you got the OTE, the higher time frame, 15-minute fair value gap holding, pushing down. Like, this is just a textbook sort of setup for me. This is just, in my opinion, a beautiful setup. But I was almost like, I thought it looked so good that I thought we were just gonna dump, basically, and it was just FOMO. I was just trading based off of emotion at this point. So I saw, we had this inverse here, we had this 1-minute fair value gap here, and so I instantly zoomed in. Alright, so my original goal, this was the OTE fair value gap. My original plan was just, like, I just had a limit order right here, and this was my original order there, and then I was targeting, I was like, I might take some off something, or I might take it off, down here in the 2 to 2.5, or I might hold it. I don't know, it looks great. So I was sort of gonna see what was gonna happen, but once we like took out this high here and started to reject, I was like, oh no, like this might be like that turtle soup. We've been seeing that a ton lately, where it just takes out a high and just dumps, or takes out a low and rips. So once we took this and just started dumping, and we broke through this, I was like, oh, we're just going. Like, this is gonna be, you know, low resistance liquidity run here, and we're just gonna like displace and just keep going. And so as we were breaking through this, I shorted, you know, and that got stopped out pretty quick. Then I did not zoom out. That was my problem. I stayed on the 15-second chart instead of just going back out to the 1 minute and reassessing. So I'm on the 15 seconds still, and zooming back in. Once we I don't even know what I was thinking here, because we're just generating liquidity to the upside here. But so we had this big 15-second fair value gap, and we kept wicking it, and then as we just started to roll over, this was just like the FOMO, like, it's gonna go without me, like I got stopped out, like blah blah blah, whatever, and I just smacked a short, instantly got stopped out, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? And then at that point, I zoomed out a little, and I looked at the model again on the 1 minute, and I had the standard deviation projection marked out. We actually also had an SMT here, which I didn't notice because I was so cracked out on the 15-second chart that I wasn't looking at ES at all. You know, so if anything, should have, you know, I mean, I shouldn't have taken the trade here regardless, so whatever. But once I sort of drew this out, you know, I took a deep breath, I looked back, I was like, alright, what's going on here? I'm seeing all this low resistance liquidity to the upside. We're holding the 1 to 1.5, so you would generally see a, you know, like a pullback in here. We took this low. We're starting to move up. But I was like, you know, this looks beautiful. Like, this setup looks great. This is my original plan, you know. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna take my original plan. This is gonna be my last trade of the day. And if I get stopped out, you know, fuck me. But I was like, look, this looks great to me, and I still think this works out. I was just being a dumbass over here. But the problem with that is I didn't get stopped out here, but normally I would have put my stop up here, but I was trying to tighten up the risk a little bit as much as I can, so I put my stop above here. we came like literally a tick or two, maybe 2 ticks from taking my from stopping me out before actually having the displacement move lower. And realistically, the best setup here, you know, it formed another internal model, right? Like, you have this little 1 minute fair value gap here you could have taken. Zooming in, you know, this looks a little bit more clear. We had these stacked highs. We took that out, respected the first sort of imbalance, pushed lower, market structure shift, 30-second. Realistically, could have just smacked a long right or short right here, maybe stop above there, and probably just targeting, you know, some internal low, or, you know, maybe this low as it's right by the standard deviation projection, and just sort of had a, you know, a quick little scalp to the downside, and move would have been over with. You know, take your profits and walk. And I think that would have been the better setup. But basically, I took this, and once we took out these lows, I moved my stop to break even, and I sat through this entire move the whole day, pretty much, or the whole AM session through lunch. Sat through this whole thing. We had our turtle soup here, and then I guess we held this fair value gap, kept moving lower. And the reason why I had my my take profit where it was, the 5 minute had a huge wick, so it's consequent encroachment of the wick also lined up with the 4 standard deviation. So I was like, look, dude, this is a 100-point move. Like, I'm not targeting the low. Like, that's just ridiculous. And thankfully, I didn't target the low, because we actually ended up bouncing viciously, and I would have gotten stopped out at break even if I tried to target this low. Because you have I'm going to delete this now so we can see a little bit better, but we had after we came down, the 4 standard deviation, I'll keep this marked out, is right there. This dotted line is consequent encroachment, and then if we look at ES, this was the low, so we had a clear SMT here, and then we had an internal SMT as well here. So I did not take this with real money, but I definitely paper traded it because it just looked beautiful, and I wanted to test it out. But I wasn't gonna, after being so emotional and stuff throughout the day, trading like garbage. There's no way I was gonna take another trade with real money. So, but I was really confident in this, mainly because of these highs. Like, they just looked. It looked like such clear buy side, low resistance liquidity. I realistically was pretty surprised we didn't come all the way up and take more, but I guess we just continued to hold the 15 minute. So we had the SMT here. Then zooming in, you had this SMT here at the lows. NQ's bullish. So once I saw this this placement here broke above this high, we had 2 SMTs holding these 2 levels. I was like, we're not going to take this out just yet. It doesn't seem like it. ES ripped up, so I paper traded, smacked along in this 1 minute, and then we ended up having this turtle soup here, which, if this is where the lower time frame charts are useful. You probably could have, I guess maybe the 30-second. You got a little gap in there, little baby gap. Or no, we don't. That's the immediate rebalance, right? A little volume imbalance. Could have smacked along. Wicks held that well. If you were noticing the turtle soup there. But regardless, I probably would have just long the 1 minute. That's what I paper traded. Stop below the low. And I definitely would have just taken it off here if I was trading with real money. So, you had all that low resistance liquidity. I mean, huge, like, this is what a low resistance liquidity run looks like. Look at the trade that I took. Like, that took all day, right? All day to get to this price target. And then literally within like 10-15 minutes, maybe. So where do we drop in? 46. So like 15 minutes, you just completely just rip straight line to the take profit. Like, and what, this took all day. So, you know, this setup right here is beautiful in my opinion, just because of the SMTs and what you're holding and everything. Internal model, like, it looks great. So I think that was the other setup of the day. And then we sort of, you know, we came up, I wouldn't have really played this internal model, but, you know, it worked out well. You know, you could have gotten, you know, a huge move, but I was still thinking we would bounce somewhere in here. But regardless, came down, took out sell side, and then had another big move to the upside. So now we're sort of like kind of in a consolidation range here. I mean, looking at this kind of looks like an AMD model here. Accumulation, manipulation, so that's your distribution. But we'll see what happens in the overnight. Yeah, like, very poor trading again by me in terms of my discipline and whatnot. So you know, I really gotta, I know I say it in every video, and then when it actually comes down to the trading aspect, I just completely disregard what I'm saying. So, but, you know, I'm sort of saying it out loud in the videos as a way of saying it to myself, you know what I mean? That I gotta stay more disciplined. So I don't know what's gonna happen overnight, but you know, we got some ton of wicks going on here. I don't know, it's looking a little sketchy for shorts, but we'll see. Got a little 4 hour here as well. I don't know, we'll have to see what happens. Big wick here though. I was kind of expecting this to just become low resistance liquidity run, but I don't know, maybe we'll see that tomorrow. So all sort of comes down to what we see in the overnight. I don't know what's going on here. It's kind of disgusting. A little volume imbalance. Yeah, maybe we sort of generate all these highs and come sweep these before moving back lower. We'll have to see. So if you guys traded today, I hope you were more disciplined than me. You know, I hope you stuck to your plan, took some clean setups. This was ES, same exact setup with the 1 minute fair value gap. You know, tight risk on this as well. I probably would have gotten stopped out at break even right here if I got filled on that. I probably wouldn't have gotten filled on that, and then I probably would have taken my order off after seeing this. So, but then, you know, he came up, took this high. Let's see, a little displacement lower, you know, broke the swing low. So maybe you could have shorted in there or waited for the second internal model. Fair value gap here. Again, would have definitely gotten stopped out at break even, but probably would have just targeted this low. I think that's the better approach than what I did, trying to hold all the way here with one contract. You know, if you entered here with, you know, 5 contracts and you took 3 off or something and you let 2 run, that's fine, or 4 off and let 1 run, but whatever. So regardless, I don't want to keep rambling on, so we'll have to see what happens. And yeah, if I trade, I will make another video. So peace out.